Welcome back to Barnsley, and it's time for the last semi-finals of 2021.
Bullseye, Joe's won the ball.
In Players' Championships. A familiar look to this one. We've seen these two battle previously this week already. On the other board, you've got Krzysztof Ratajski and Dariusz Labanauskas.
100.
But if you've chosen this board to watch, I don't blame you. It's been a really interesting day with
60.
World Championship spots solidified, some still sweating over the course of the next few weeks.
140.
Based on Grand Slam permutations, ranking movements in the top 32, and of course just outside it. But what we have are 4 players left who just want to win a tournament. And in Joe Cullen's case,
41.
He's trying to win the last Players' Championship of the year for the 2nd year in a row.
93.
And what he could do, if he beats Michael van Gerwen, is set up another meeting with Krzysztof Ratajski in the final Players' Championship of the year, because that's what happened last year in Coventry. We'll run through their route to this point
140.
at the end of this first leg, which is nearing a conclusion. It could have possibly ended there.
40.
But Van Gerwen can end it in 15 with a break.
72.
And doesn't, to give Joe an outside chance. Went for 2 balls. I don't blame him. The 60 was blocked.
96.
That wasn't an exhibition style finish. That was just making sense. And that makes sense too. 16 darts is good enough to take the break in the first leg. So a somewhat slow start for Joe, but has a slightly longer game to work with here.
132.
First things first, let's talk about how they got here. I'm not talking about how they commuted, but with Joe Cullen, start of the day with a win on this board against Jeffrey Desvant.
59.
His worst performance of the day, but it was good enough. Then he took out Andy Bolton, followed by Kim Huybrechts. Good game, that one.
Sam.
Taken all the way. Then Callan Rids. That was the game that really caught light.
140.
Joe had his destiny in his hands to try and eliminate the person who could have eliminated him from the field of the Grand Slam. And Joe can now make plans for Wolverhampton. Another.
140.
Now it's Joe's turn. Can he find it? There's your answer. And Van Gerwen has chosen to leave double 15.
Game shot.
And he's in a sharp mood, isn't he? 13 darter gives him a 2-0 lead here. Didn't even give me a chance to tell you that Joe came through Danny Noppert in his quarter-final, which was a rather good game to say the least. Joe averaging just shy of 105, and Danny 108.5 wasn't good enough. Joe won by 6 legs to 3. That's the standard these guys live by.
140.
Scary, scary stuff. As far as Michael's concerned,
180.
really interesting day for him as he gets his first maximum of this semi-final. Came through John Worsley with no trouble whatsoever. 100+ average there, and another against Ryan Murray. Took care of Daryl Gurney on this board.
140.
And if you saw that one, it was the 3rd game they've had in 2021 where both of them have averaged massively.
99.
He needed his best performance of the day to take out Daryl Gurney in 10 legs. Could he possibly take the 140 out on double 10? Oh, that's huge. Cullen sitting on 74, waiting to erase the gap to 1, now stares at a deficit of 3. Is he about to find that level
180.
that was very normal for him in winning loads of these titles? And until yesterday, He had a drought of a very, very long time. They're both maxing here.
140.
Stupendous standard. In the quarterfinals, it was Matthew Edgar
96.
that Michael van Gerwen toppled after he'd taken care of Damon Hetter in the last 16. His averages have come down over the last couple of matches. You just sense that maybe he's reaching into the tank here and finding something extra special. He's well over 100.
134.
And that will get higher if he takes this 120 out.
$80.
Second time in the match he's gone over the bar. And Cullen's got to find this. Smack in the middle of the 51, and that's a 91 straight out of the textbook. Beautifully done by Joseph Cullen. And boy, did he need that break of throw. Averages aren't too bad.
180.
But these guys can maintain these averages. This is not an unfair picture of their talent.
58.
We will talk about their World Championship match from last year forever.
97.
But they have had games since. They've had a couple. One won by Joe, one won by Michael.
100.
Whereas this game will motor on at a very fast pace. The other semi-final will be a bit more deliberate. But Cullen's starting to get into this now, isn't he? 44 after 9 is never a bad position. Unless your opponent's hit a 9, of course. Double 16.
Game shot.
That's an 11 darter to erase the gap to 1 finally. Just a sign that Cullen's got a chin right in the middle of that double 16. Beautiful shot.
95.
As far as the Players' Championship finals are concerned, we know that both of these players will be there. They've known that for some time. But as it stands right now, based on this match not happening or the final, Joe Cullen's opponent will be Jason Lowe. That is subject to change if he wins this match. There's a couple of different opponents he could potentially have if he makes the final, or indeed wins the event.
33. $97.
It's the same for Michael, but he only has 2 prospective opponents. At the minute, he is sketched
99.
to play Andy Bolton. But there is a bit of a caveat to that, which is incredibly interesting, as Cullen gets another maximum. Somewhat in vain, maybe his 4th.
Game shot.
As Van Gerwen takes a 4-2 lead in a race to 7. This is very reminiscent of the game we saw between Chris Dobie and Rob Cross a couple of days ago in the semi-finals. The scary thing is, these 108 and 107 averages are under what we saw
84.
from that other game. Just confirming to us how special that semi-final was between Dobie and Cross.
100.
But get your gills around this one. If MVG loses this game and doesn't pick up multiple titles in Players' Championships this year, he will play Andy Bolton at Minehead in round 1. As we get another maximum from Cullen. How many could he possibly get in this match? How many is Michael going to get? Oh, well, we don't get a maximum, but we get the next best thing pretty much. Bullseye.
Game shot.
This game is rather good. They're not missing much, and they're loving the pace of it. And they're giving me no chance to talk about their draws at Minehead, which I am completely happy about. Look at those.
58.
That 111 has been there for Van Gerwen for the last 3 legs. Cullen's average has just raised a little bit.
93.
If Michael wins this game, his opponent at Minehead will change, regardless of whether he makes the final or wins
96.
it. So if he gets 3 more legs at Minehead, his first round opponent will be Simon Whitlock. Now, if Cullen wins this game,
140.
his opponent would be Andy Bolton if he loses the final. But if he wins the final, he would play Whitlock.
140.
Because these two are very close to each other in that Players' Championship Series order of merit.
170.
Oh, Michael, don't miss double 16 because Joe won't miss double 18.
16.
He didn't heed the warning.
Game shot.
Told you you wouldn't miss it. It's 4-4, and this game is going to give us a lot more drama than we've already seen. Superb match. Sometimes you need a little bit of fortune like that
134.
to get back into a match. 3 darts missed at double from Michael. With his current form, it's just not likely, but he's human. They've had very similar seasons. That's why they're so close to each other in the order of merit. 2 wins for Cullen, 1 runner-up spot, 2 semi-finals. Whereas Michael, 1 win, 2 runner-up spots, and 2 semi-finals. So they've reached the last 4 on 5 occasions each until now, which makes 6 for both of them.
$47. Sorry, 46.
Cullen's looking for his 6th Players' Championship title today, whereas Michael is looking for his 32nd.
133.
And if he finds it, he would equal the amount of Players' Championship titles he has to the amount of European Tour titles he has, because he's had 32 of those for quite some time. Double top.
Game
And
shot.
Cullen is playing special stuff now. He's won the last 3 legs, and he's now within 2 of making the final against Ratajski or Labanauskas. They're only 3 legs into their contest, and trust me, they're not averaging like these two are.
140.
Ratajski leads by 2 legs to 1. And now it's Cullen averaging 111.
100. $180.
Let us just marvel at what these guys are doing right now. Just to give you an indication of how some dart
48.
players think and what happens to their Pro Tour ranking 12 months on from a win.
134.
Joe Cullen, of course, was the #1 seed for a lot of the summer tournaments and autumn tournaments.
177.
But if he wants to get back there, he needs to keep winning. Double 16.
Game shot.
And Cullen is now 6-4 after Van Gerwen has just put in a perfect visit to approach, but it was too late. £10,000 would come off
60.
the ranking on the Pro Tour, of course, which is for seedings for Joe Cullen around about this time,
140.
based on winning about 12 months ago. So, to maintain his high seeding, a win is needed.
140.
He won't be thinking about that. All he wants to do is beat Michael. 2 words going through his brain right now: beat Michael.
41.
And he is not far away from it. This is one of the best displays we have seen from Joe Cullen on the floor.
100.
He had 113 average a little bit earlier this week. He's trying to better what he did
95.
when he beat Jason Heaver on day 1. It was actually 112.53.
81.
So we'll watch out for that, because he's only 3 darts away from victory. And a 15 dart would bring his average down.
95.
Can he win it right here? Maybe.
Game
Has
shot
done
on
so.
Joe
It's
Cullen.
almost perfect. From 4-2 down, he's gone on to win the last 5 legs with an incredible display to put himself in the final of the last Players' Championship of the year.